I want to talk about the Tennessee Titans, and I am enamored by this idea that the Tennessee Titans could possibly bring in Sam Darnold. And I know you may call me crazy because Sam Darnold just had a great year with the Minnesota Vikings, but his last two games, the two biggest games of his career in the pros, they did not end out too well for him. I will touch on those games, but first off, I want to talk about the Tennessee Titans and why I do believe they're in a better situation right now than other quarterback needy teams. You see, the Tennessee Titans, they were easily the worst team in football this season. That's why they have the first overall pick. Unlike the New York Giants, the Las Vegas Raiders, and the Jets, the Tennessee Titans control their own destiny. They don't have to go out there. They don't have to talk to any other free agent quarterbacks if they don't want to. They could go out there and they can say, you know what? We're going to write it down right now. As I record this video, we're in February. This is the week before the combine. They can go out there. They can write down on their list, we're going to take Cam Ward no matter what. We're going to take Shedeur Sanders no matter what. And who is going to stop you? No one. But it would be smart to go out there and try to talk to a quarterback like Sam Darnold because he has experience in the NFL. And I do believe right now he gives you a better chance of winning for the foreseeable future than a young quarterback like a Cam Ward and a Shedeur Sanders. I'm just going to say it. I don't have confidence in the Tennessee Titans organization going out there and developing Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders. I think both quarterbacks are phenomenally talented, especially Cam Ward. He's a freak of nature with some of the throws he's able to make. But when I look at the Titans, they haven't developed a quarterback in a very long time. You had Ryan Tannehill, but he was drafted by the Miami Dolphins, and he looked solid. But Ryan Tannehill was never a top quarterback in the NFL. He was always a quarterback that benefited from playing with A.J. Brown and Derrick Henry. But that was the best quarterback that they've had over the last few years. You move off of Ryan Tannehill because he did look terrible in his last season. You drafted Malik Willis. Look at how that worked out for you. Even though Malik Willis was not ready to be a player just yet in the NFL, he should have stayed at least one more year in college if he was able to at Liberty. And the scouts hyped him up. He looked terrible with the Titans. The Titans trade him away. He goes to the Green Bay Packers. He still doesn't look like a top quarterback to have, but he's like a solid backup. And he defeated the Tennessee Titans when he was starting that game. And he is still not a very good passer. But you saw moments this year with the Packers with a stable organization, how good he can look and the fact that he can help you win football games. He couldn't do that with the Tennessee Titans because the roster wasn't good and the infrastructure as a whole with the organization, it isn't there either. And I really like Coach Callahan, the head coach. I love his dad's the offensive line coach. But I look at his ownership. She's too impatient and she doesn't know what the hell she is doing right now with the Titans. First off, you fire Mike Vrabel. And I understand there was a lot of rumors behind the scenes about him not being on the same page with the general manager. So you fire Mike Vrabel just to fire Rand a year later. Rand only had 2 years as a general manager with the Titans and she fired him. I feel like they did him dirty and she did him dirty. It takes more time than just 2 years to figure out a roster. And he did some solid moves. He brought in Tony Pollard. He brought in Calvin Ridley. He brought in Cushenberry and L'Jarius Sneed. Those are solid veterans to have around. And all those players, they played this year. Cushenberry wasn't able to finish out the season. He tore his Achilles. L'Jarius Sneed did not look that great on the field before he got injured, but he has a lot of juice left in the tank. And Cushenberry was a very good center with the Denver Broncos. L'Jarius Sneed was a top cornerback with the Kansas City Chiefs. That's what you want your general manager to do. And even though I feel like she made a huge mistake by firing him after 2 years, I like the general manager that she just brought in. But you have to be patient with him. Be patient with Mike. He's coming over from the Kansas City Chiefs. He got to see what the Kansas City Chiefs can do in the draft room. How they drafted and basically developed Patrick Mahomes. But I don't have that much faith right now in the Tennessee Titans organization. I'm talking about the ownership here, with her being patient with the quarterback position. And you hear all the scouts, what they're saying, this is a weak quarterback class, similar to that class that had Malik Willis, Kenny Pickett, and Desmond Ridder. The best quarterback in that draft class was Brock Purdy, and he was the last pick. So I look at the Tennessee Titans right now. If you're not comfortable with Cam Ward, you're not comfortable with Shedeur Sanders, and you feel like Coach Callahan cannot develop those guys to the next level, why not go out there and bring in someone like a Sam Darnold? And I know it's a lot of pushback here because Sam Darnold has only had one consistent good year, and that was with the Minnesota Vikings. But I do want to take up for Sam Darnold here, even though he has a lot of flaws to his game. Sam Darnold has never been placed in a good situation until he went to the Minnesota Vikings. The kid got drafted by the New York Jets. The New York Jets have not developed a quarterback in over a decade plus. They are a horribly ran organization. The same thing that happened to Zach Wilson happened to Sam Darnold. You had Coach Todd be his head coach. Then you moved on from him. Then you had Adam Gase be his head coach because he was a very good coach. And let's be honest here, he benefited from playing alongside Peyton Manning and coaching alongside Peyton Manning, pardon me. Just because he was able to go out there and call a couple plays for Peyton Manning, every coach looked good with Peyton because he's a generational talent. So the infrastructure was never there with Sam Darnold. Terrible offensive line, never had a true number one wide receiver. They got him a running back in Le'Veon Bell, who was behind his prime when they signed him. And he struggled with injuries with the Jets. So they moved off of him. They moved him to the Carolina Panthers. Those first 3 games, he looked solid with Christian McCaffrey. Then the offensive line went to hell. In the last few games with Steve Wilks, when he was the interim head coach with the Carolina Panthers, if you guys remember that, Sam Darnold looked very good. He looked very competent. And they finished the season strong. Then he went to become the backup with the 49ers. So this is a quarterback that never got the true development to begin his career, and he is still young. He goes over to the Minnesota Vikings, and you can say that he benefited from playing alongside Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison. But you don't accidentally go out there and throw 35 passing touchdowns for 4,319 passing yards. That's not an accident. You have to be talented to go out there and do that. He was able to read defenses. He dealt with pressure all season long, especially when Christian went down at the left tackle position. He had 2 bad games in particular that I remember against the Indianapolis Colts and the Jacksonville Jaguars. He's far from perfect. I'm not saying that you're getting a top 5 to top 10 quarterback if you sign Sam Darnold. But what I'm saying is this: you're getting a young quarterback that can help your franchise right now, and you can select a generational talent with the first overall pick. If you bring in Sam Darnold, he wants to come in for the next 3 to 4 years, you can go out there and you can select Abdul Carter with the first overall pick. Many scouts are saying that he can be the next Micah Parsons, if not be better than Micah Parsons. And I look at the defense for the Titans. You're not that far off. Against the run, you're in the bottom of the league, but you had the second best total defense, second best passing defense. And what's going to help that passing defense get even better? A healthy L'Jarius Sneed when he has his head on straight, and when you play him in his natural position and you let him do what he did with the Kansas City Chiefs. Not only just that, you already have 2 very good pass rushers in Harold Landry and Jeffrey Simmons, and you bring in a generational pass rusher and Abdul Carter from Penn State that can work out for you. So that's why I like the idea of bringing over Sam Darnold. And if it doesn't work out, you can go out there and go into next year's draft class or the draft class after and take another swing at the quarterback position. But the owner, she has to be patient with this. This is a rebuilding team. They're not ready to win right now. Even if you bring in a Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders, I don't think either one of those quarterbacks will push you to the playoffs like how Jaden Daniels has done for the Commanders and like how CJ has done with the Houston Texans. And I do believe this. She got to see up close and personal what the Houston Texans did with CJ. And she felt like, you know what? Will Levis should be able to push us to the playoffs this year. And that didn't happen. That's why she fired Rand. Now, that's what I believe. Owners do a lot of weird things when they see success happen in their league and when they see success happens in their division. Remember, the Tennessee Titans, they ran this division over the last few years, especially when the Houston Texans, when they traded Deshaun Watson. The Tennessee Titans, they had A.J. Brown. They had Julio Jones, even though he was way behind his prime. They had Ryan Tannehill and Derrick Henry. That was the team in the AFC South. In CJ's first year, the Tennessee Titans were in a situation to where they could go out there and make some noise, but they were just dealing with all those injuries. They were 8-3 to start the season, and then they bottomed out because of the injuries that they were dealing with. Then they traded A.J. Brown. That's what a general manager did many years ago, and they haven't recovered since then. So it starts up top. But right now, I don't have that much confidence in the Tennessee Titans going out there and developing a guy like a Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders. Now, to bring in some of the negatives with Sam Darnold, he will hold on to the football for a very long time. Against the Detroit Lions, January the 5th, 166 passing yards. That was it. 0 passing touchdowns, 0 interceptions. He was getting pressured all day long, and he missed a lot of throws. He was very antsy inside the pocket. But the play calling by Kevin O'Connell was not the best. And the wide receivers, they struggled to get open on the back end. And against the Los Angeles Rams, unfortunately, that was his last game with the Vikings up to this point. He had 245 passing yards, 1 passing touchdown, 1 interception. He got sacked 9 times in that matchup because he was holding on to the football for a very long time, and he fumbled a football that went for 6 points. And then you kick the extra point, it went for the full 7 points. Sam Darnold has to do a better job of getting the football out quicker. The same problems that he dealt with as a rookie and what he dealt with in his sophomore season, he is still dealing with right now. But when I look at the Titans, you have Calvin Ridley, who I do believe is a true number 1. He had over 1,000 receiving yards this year. That's playing with Will Levis. That's playing with Mason Rudolph. And right now, Sam Darnold at his worst is still a better quarterback than both of those guys. And you have Nick Westbrook-Akine, who had 9 receiving touchdowns on the year. You have Chigga Kongwo at the tight end spot. You have Tony Pollard. You have Tajay Spears. You have solid weapons. Continue to invest in this offensive line because you're going to have a lot of money to spend this offseason. And when I look at the general manager, Mike, you have connections with the Kansas City Chiefs. Try to go out there and bring in one of those Kansas City Chiefs offensive linemen that's going to be a free agent and put him at the right guard position. Bring in Trey Smith. Bring him in. Let him play alongside Peter Skoronski and let him play alongside J.C. Latham and Cushenberry. Then you'll have 4 starters on this offensive line. Consistency. That right tackle position is still a huge problem, but you could bring in a swing tackle. Look at what the Giants did when they brought in Jermaine. Jermaine is not a top right tackle to have, but you saw a significant increase in offensive line production when he was on the field with Andrew Thomas. So you can bring in a right tackle that has experience to help out Sam Darnold. When Sam Darnold has enough time in the pocket, he can make some crazy throws. He will look like a deer in headlights at times. He's not going to be your franchise quarterback, in my opinion. But with what the executive said over a month ago, when he came out and said that we're not going to go out there and basically pass on a generational talent, you're going to either go Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter. And I'm not against them going with Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders here. I just don't have the confidence that they can develop those quarterbacks because what has happened in the past. Look at Will Levis. He's a turnover machine. Will Levis was a man that many people thought should have went into the first round. The Tennessee Titans tried to trade back into the first round and try to draft him in the first round. Should have been a 4th or a 5th round pick the way that he's playing. But it's not all on Will Levis just because your offensive line is completely terrible and you have not developed him just yet. And you pushed him into the fire. And the same with Malik Willis. So be patient here. But you bring in a guy that has veteran experience as Sam Darnold. You bring him over to the weapons that you have. It could possibly help propel you to more wins in the future. And then you can move up in the NFL draft over the next 2 years if you're not comfortable with Sam Darnold, and you can get a better quarterback then. This is a golden opportunity for the Tennessee Titans. But let me know in the comment section below. This is basically an open forum video. What would you do if you're the Tennessee Titans? Would you try to bring in someone like a Sam Darnold? And I do believe this. If they miss out on Sam Darnold, I don't see another quarterback that you could possibly bring in. I know that a lot of people saying that Aaron Rodgers, he fits the system with Coach Callahan. Do you really want to deal with Aaron Rodgers? And he's over the age of 40 at this point. Do you really want to bring him in behind a bad offensive line? He had suffered a torn Achilles just a year ago. Do you really want to bring him in? Do you want to deal with his attitude? You could bring in a guy like Justin Fields, but I don't believe that Justin Fields will help push you over the top. The same with Russell Wilson. I think that one of those quarterbacks, they're definitely going to stay with the Steelers. I think that it will be Justin Fields. And I think that Russell Wilson will go to the Las Vegas Raiders and he will reconnect with Pete Carroll. Now look at the Titans here. You're going to have some competition for Sam Darnold. It'll be the Giants. It'll be the Jets because the Giants right now, Coach Dable and Joe Shane, the general manager, they're going to do anything that it takes to keep their jobs. When I look at the Titans, you may be more secure here because the general manager, this is his first year. This is Coach Callahan's second year. Maybe she'll give them a longer leash. But the Titans, they should be in conversations right now to try to go out there and bring in a guy like Sam Darnold. And you select a guy like Abdul Carter with the first overall pick. But if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. If you like the video, hit the like button. Most importantly, I want each and every last one of you guys stay safe, stay positive. Thanks for the video, guys. God bless. Peace.